Family, good morning. It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. It is Tuesday, February 7th. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining the program today. And really appreciate you guys rolling through for Wake Up Bama, which is dropped every morning at 4 a.m. Rain or shine, that podcast goes out. I don't know if anybody's watching it, but I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for getting inside the comment box and hanging out with me today on this beautiful Tuesday. Weather's been a little bit better. I guess anything is better than early February, right? Where it was like we went through that whole cold spell. Yeah, thank you as always. Appreciate you guys. You guys see this? I kind of opened up the show with this. You know, when I first moved here, every state has a rivalry. Every team has a rival. I think Alabama versus Auburn is one of the biggest, if not the biggest rivalry in the country, right? Of course, you got I think of rivalries, and I think of the other one that jumps to my mind is Ohio State and Michigan. Right, that one, those two teams seem to definitely hate each other. But Alabama and Auburn, I mean, they hate each other. But the thing about Ohio State and Michigan is that those teams seem to be able to, trade some wins and trade some losses. Whereas over here, and even program for program, Ohio State does something, Michigan does something, whatever, right? But within this particular state, at least since I've been here, 10 years, a decade, it seems like Auburn just keeps getting worse and worse and worse at pretty much the main thing, football, right? And that's what's kind of everything is held up to. And Bama just keeps getting better in that category, at least against Auburn. Auburn's definitely sneaking a couple wins, here or there. But it must be so frustrating to be an Auburn fan in this state because they are such an afterthought, right? It's nothing else matters. I mean, imagine ESPN, imagine AL.com. All they do is live off the success of Alabama football and, then kind of sprinkle in a couple things about Auburn here and there. So Bruce Pearl and Greg Byrne, right? They haven't necessarily went head to head yet. This seems like a potential debate that I would imagine we continue to track, but there's bad blood between Alabama and Auburn. And there's, you have Bruce Pearl recently just, using his platform. He has a huge platform now that he's on TV, very outspoken individual. And I think that he kind of has unresolved wounds because Nate Oates, since he got here, he was kind of the guy. But Nate Oates quickly took not only the spotlight from him, but proved that he was a better basketball coach than Bruce Pearl, right? And I think that's really hard for, somebody with as big of an ego as Bruce Pearl. Let me ask you this. Would you say that Bruce Pearl has an ego? Yes or no? I would say that he has a massive ego. Would you say that Kalen DeBoer has an ego? I would say that he has absolutely zero ego, and you couldn't have an ego coming into this, coaching staff, as he did. But I think Bruce Pearl is somebody with probably one of the biggest egos that there is. So anytime that has an opportunity to go after somebody, but particularly after Nate Oates, he was going to swing for the fences, right? And he called Nate Oates selfish, right, for everything that happened with Charles Bediako. And he kind of went on about Nate Oates not caring about the SEC, not caring about the NCAA. I'm sure you saw it. Maybe you didn't. But, I mean, you wouldn't expect anything else, right? And clearly the judge ruled that Bediako was ineligible. And we kind of, have moved past this a little bit. By the way, Alabama is starting to gain some momentum, on the backstretch of the SEC. In fact, I don't think they're going to lose another SEC game for a little bit. I mean, they got Arkansas on Wednesday, LSU, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Georgia, Auburn. I think they finish out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they've already won 4. Yeah, so they'll end the season on a 10-game, winning streak. But, Greg Byrne recently, he responded with the Bible quote. And look, when somebody hits you with the Bible quote, there's no coming back because there's nothing that you can come back with. Once somebody hits you, am I right? Once somebody hits you with the Bible quote, it's not from the top rope. It's coming down from heaven on you, right? And he said, he without sin cast the first stone. And everybody knows, Bruce Pearl and the history that he has, right? And, the trouble that he's gotten into, right? So it's almost ironic that somebody like that is saying that Nate Oates is selfish when he's done kind of his own stuff. You know what I'm saying? So Greg Byrne, a couple things. We don't often talk about him, but I think the hire of Nate Oates, I mean, damn, like I was here for Avery Johnson, and Avery Johnson's a great guy, but he wasn't the guy. And we kind of knew that. And the basketball games, besides Colin Sexton, it was just kind of whatever. He brings in Nate Oates, and this is after doing his due diligence about watching him at Buffalo and kind of his transformation as a basketball coach and where he was going. But he had the foresight to go after him to bring in kind of a lesser-known name to here to Alabama. And what Nate Oates has done here at Alabama, I mean, with the last, I don't know, however long he's been here, 5-6 years, it's been remarkable. I mean, and that's credit to Greg Byrne. I don't think we can lose sight of that. I mean, he went out and got the right guy for the job, got a guy that I think Alabama fans, because Alabama fans love Alabama basketball. All of my friends here, they love Alabama basketball so much. Like if you were born and raised here, like in Tuscaloosa, and those are like my friends. I have a lot of friends who are born and raised here, right? Back they went to Central when it was like broken up into like 3 different schools, right? I have friends who, have lived here for such a long time. And all of them, every single one of those guys is a huge Alabama basketball fan. Literally right up there with Alabama football. So they want Alabama basketball to be good. And Nate Oates has brought that back. Is he the best coach ever? I know a lot of people would probably say Whip. And I guess this is my question for you. If you're a little bit older and you're a little bit more tenured, has Nate Oates surpassed Whip Sanderson? And I don't mean that in disrespect. I'm asking you, right? I'm legitimately asking you. So if you're out there, even if you're on the rewatch, maybe you're not answering now or whatever, but has he? From what I've seen with Alabama basketball is they've clearly emerged as a team that is not just a kind of a one-year team. I mean, you look at what Nate Oates has done in the history here at Alabama, it's been really remarkable. And I think we're kind of almost getting to that point, unfortunately, that you're kind of like spoiled a little bit. But I mean, think about since 2020, right? You got Sweet 16, right? Round of 64. Sweet 16, Final Four, and then the Elite Eight, right? So, like, who knows what this year holds? I don't know. They're 18-7, 8-4. I know conference play has been a little bit tough for them, and they've went through some adversity. But I say this to say this, like, Greg Byrne has been a guy that stands behind his coaches, has had the foresight to bring in Nate Oates, and I tie it into now football. He had the hardest job in the entire world was to replace Coach Saban. Think about all of the great enterprises in the country, in the world, right? They're like, I'm going to stand on this hill until my time is done, okay? Out of all the remarkable people that there are in this great life, in this great world, with the foresight for building an organization, for keeping your standards extremely high, for, keeping your just everything about him, Coach Saban, right? You're not going to find too many human beings that are better than him and that have more of a dog mentality than him. You're just not going to. It's a rare breed, okay? That's why I think, like, he always said it, like, high achievers don't like people who are mediocre. They don't. I mean, they just don't. So Greg Byrne had to go out there and replace that type of human. Where are you going to go? Like, searching beyond this planet, is almost impossible. So what he did, right, and he could have went a couple different choices, and he could have went from somebody from the Saban, regime, and there's a lot of them, and people were talking about that he messed up there, and he went, but he went after a guy, Kalen DeBoer, that he saw, was the right guy for the job. And now as you go into year 3, and I was talking about on Wake Up Bama podcast this morning, a lot of people continue to be critical of Alabama, guys with major platforms. And I think and the reason for that is because it's an easy target. Kalen DeBoer is an easy target to go after, right? Alabama, the biggest brand in college football, let's face it, right? And when they're not good or when they're not winning national championships, something is wrong. So let's talk about it, right? And it obviously drives so many clicks because, like I explained this morning, people want to see the continued downfall of Alabama football. People want to see this program go down in flames. It's not going to. It's like the stability is so strong. Now, you might have some reorganization. You might have some years where you take some on the chin and you kind of catch up to, where college football is in this spinning cycle. There's never been a more transitional time period for college football ever than what we've gone through within the last, I don't even know if it's been 24 months. We just haven't. So Greg Byrne gets Kalen DeBoer, and Kalen DeBoer enters in year 3. And again, he's always had his back. He's always felt he's the right guy for the job. There's still people out there that are going to question it as fans. But I kind of rest assured on like the guys that were leaving the program, like Ty Simpson and Tim Keenan. I've thought a lot about it. I've thought a lot about this. I'm like, I believe those guys. And when those guys are telling you don't wait to be a fan of Alabama football, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me. All right, so that's kind of my opening. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for rolling through this morning on Bama Football on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys being here on the show every single day at 10 a.m. And let's see who's inside the community. We got Young C. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for being here. We have Bama Girl. Thank you very much for being here. We have Amanda Jane. What's up? We have Max Tooney checking in with Taco Tuesday. We have Cody. What's up, Cody? I appreciate you, bro. Good call in yesterday. We have Bruce Willis. We got Miss Debbie Hansen. Good morning. We got Broderick. What's up, bro? Good to roll, man. We also have, let's see who else we got up in the crib today. We got William Highnote. What's going on, man? We got Braxton. What's up, Braxton? Good to see you rolling through, man. Hope you're off to a really good Tuesday. Is anybody else's kids off? My kids are off Monday and Tuesday, right, of this week. Yesterday, obviously, President's Day. I don't know what's going on today, but they have like a little mini vacation here in Tuscaloosa. We got Capstone's Farms. What's up, man? Thank you very much for all your support. Keelan Russell is the GOAT. Thank you very much for being here. Patriotic. What's up, man? How you feeling today? We got Chad Kennedy. We got Jay Smith. What's going on, man? Thank you so much for joining the program today. We got Jeff. What's up, man? Jeff, good to see you. We got Ricky Smith up inside the comm box. What's up, Rex? Good to see you, man. You had a big day on the show yesterday, bro. You did amazing, dude. We love you, bro. And Jeff says, yo, I used to listen to Alabama basketball on the radio I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. Like I'm telling you, all my friends here in town, they tell me they're huge Bama basketball fans, 100%. Let's see. Mrs. Crystal Jones says, apparently some schools are off all week. Huh. Yeah, we're just off Monday and Tuesday. And let's see. Keelan Russell is the GOAT. Did you have surgery? Okay. All right. Well, hope you're okay, bro. Thank you so much for being here. And Miss Amelia, what's up? Amelia, good to see you. Appreciate you being here. If Bama hired a Saban disciple and failed, they would just be like USC after Pete Carroll, stuck chasing the path. Yeah, I mean, I think that, you do hire somebody cut from that cloth. I think it actually adds even more pressure than there already is on the coach to begin with, right? Because you're like, yo, you're a Saban guy. Why aren't you doing it like this? Saban did it like this. Aren't you a Saban guy? Do it like this. Do it like that. Can you imagine? Oh, my God. So you almost had to go a different route because there was going to be 1,000,000% pressure already. You want that times 2, right? I thought you were a Saban guy. Why didn't you do it like this? Why didn't you do it like that? Why did you change the defense? Oh, my God. You know what I'm saying? So actually, good point. Thank you to our live show sponsors. I appreciate y'all rolling through from Patriot Life all the way to Miss Anita Waters. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Moon pie. I don't know what that is, but I haven't had a moon pie in a long time. I don't know even how I feel about moon pies. They don't really have a taste to me, right? And I know it's Taco Tuesday, and we'll talk about tacos here in a little while, I hope. But moon pies, not really a fan. Actually, let's do a poll. Let's run it. All right, I need to see where we stand on moon pies. Are you a fan of moon pies? Yes or no? That is our current poll question inside the comment box. Let us know how you're feeling about moon pies. I'm going to say no, but don't let my answer hit you guys. All right, and see, look, and this is Chris G. He's coming with it, man. He's look, moon pies is vintage Mobile Marty. See, I didn't know that. Kid Latin, what's up, man? DJ Gray, what's up? Good to see you, bro. Let's see. So far, wow, we have a lot of Moon Pie fan. I did not know. So is this associated with Mardi Gras? I did not know this. Banana flavored. Wow. Okay. Shoot. I might be having to go back to the Moon Pie lab. Look at this. I like banana pudding. Okay, hold on. Dan Caraway was recently at Mardi Gras, okay? In New Orleans. All right, and he says, I like the banana pudding moon pie. Yo, wow. This was not on the script today, but oh my God. Is this for real? This can't be real. I don't think that's real, Max. Kid Latin says Kid Latin, I'm with you, dog. Me and you rolling through, okay? Kid Latin, me and you are going to eat an oatmeal cookie together, all right? Put that on your list, bro. Ricky Smith says moon pie and RC Cola. Yo, man, you're like going back to like 1989, which I'm not mad about, dog. I'll roll with you. RC Cola, man, I haven't thought about that in a minute. Shoot, man. Let's see. Juan says this. I didn't at first, but I kept I didn't like moon pies at first, but I kept trying to. Damn, dude, I love you, Juan. Never change, dog. I love that. Okay, Chris G says the Mardi Gras money is our silver wrapper. Oh, Moonies, our silver wrapper. All right, I had no idea. Wow. Let's see what Hacker says. Hacker, what's up, dog? How you doing, man? I don't let moon pies go to waste. My wife used to bring them from Kent and put them in the freezer. Wow, dang, I had no idea. Wow, okay, shit. Well, I didn't know the crew was rolling with the moon pies, man. Wow, okay, you learn something every day on this show. I swear, it is just the wildest stuff that we learn. We were learning all sorts of stuff yesterday, and man, but moon pies did not have that on the schedule. All right, so whatever. I love it. All right. Look, I've been sitting on this quote and I've been wanting to talk about this quote, man. I can't stop talking about this kid, bro. Cause I don't know why, but I keep going like loyalty, right? And I think I keep coming back to this is because I don't think there's like much loyalty in a lot of things anymore. And I think it's because kind of society has like put us in a like, I want it right now, or I want something different. I'm gonna try this out and like leave. It's been few and it is absolutely refreshing to see a guy like Trent Seaborn, 16 years old, 17 years old, however old he is, be so diligent and committed to Alabama football. And like, I'm sure these guys still exist out there, but it does give you kind of like a breath of fresh air to see somebody this young shut down opportunities to go on official visits. Because right now, think about the things that this guy has shut down, right? In his young life, right? I think that tells you a lot about his parents. It tells you a lot about himself. This guy was offered to transfer, right, from Thompson to another high school, I think out of state, right, to be paid. It was like $1 million deal, right? He turned that down. He's just been locked on Alabama. And he said that he's not going on any other official visits because that's going to take time, right, away from what he wants to do, right? And he wants to help in recruiting. And, man, I love that. He's helping build out that 2027 class. And the most amazing thing is, I think Alabama fans, I really hope you get behind this kid. Because you also have another quarterback that I'm sure he's probably trying to recruit as well, which is ironic, but this is how this kid operates, is Elijah Haven, right? So you kind of look to like 2027 and you look to the prospects that are coming in that class. I think it's going to be a really, really strong recruiting class. And you have a guy like this, it's just really nice to see. And I'm sure that the coaches are just super excited about his attitude, and attitude reflects, right, is leadership. So it's like the young man, he's got the leadership. Are we a fan of Trent? Like how excited are you about this kid, Trent Seaborn? And I have no idea when this guy is going to start, right? See, that's what I'm saying. Look, even Rex says it. Seaborn is one of the ones recruiting Haven. I love that. He wants Alabama to be great. And when his opportunity comes, I hope he's able to kind of shine through. We're a fan. Can we drop a thumbs up for our boy Trent Seaborn? Right? I just think it's like, it's so rare. Because I think now, the way that I understand it is for recruits to visit like other schools on official visits. I think they're getting paid like somewhere between $40,000 and $20,000 just to visit. So, he could theoretically be turning down like $150,000, for some, to be going other places when he's just going to be here. Love to see it. So good for Trent Seaborn. And I really like his approach on life. I like that he's committed. And I think that is a really good example of where we need to kind of turn towards, is more kind of committed to the process, right? Committed to something that is bigger than ourselves. So love to see it. Love that mentality 1,000,000%. All right. So let's see. Kyle, did the Instagram get shut down? What you mean, like my personal Instagram? Oh, yeah. I got off my Instagram. So my Instagram, and I do this periodically. I take a break. Like we still have the Bama YouTube Instagram, which I don't really post to. I post just to like the Facebook channel into YouTube. But like my personal Instagram, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to like pull back more and more for social media, just for like my own mental. I don't like it. It's like it puts me in a position. It's like I feel like I'm wasting time. It's like, what am I watching? Is this true? Right? I'm just like, what am I getting out of this? And that's just for me personally. But I'm just like, I don't know if I want to be in that space mentally. Like I take breaks from it. It's just the amount of stuff out there is just it's kind of dumb for me. But I'm not judging at all. It's just how I want to operate my life and how I want to go about it. So, I pull back from different things. So that's kind of where it's at. So if you're looking for me on like social media or whatever, that's kind of where it's at. I don't know. Like that's, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. I'm just, I can only do things for myself. I found this really interesting. So, and I was wondering about this, right? Is that, would Mike Elko get a new contract? And you've heard me talk about this before, right? Is like, what is like the perception of Mike Elko is so interesting to me, because Kalen DeBoer and Elko came in at the same exact time, right? And when you look side by side at their numbers, DeBoer has better numbers. Now, they're pretty good, each of these guys, and they're on the right track. But I think one guy, and that's Elko, is viewed in a more positive light. And I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, maybe it's because there's less expectations at Texas A&M, which sounds weird because they have, all the money in the world and all this sort of stuff. But still, Texas A&M is not Alabama football. It's just not. Okay, so Elko, definitely the right guy for the job. And people were like, let's do everything. Let's restructure his contract. 6 years, $69 million, 11.5, right, per year. Year one for DeBoer, I think they're similar. DeBoer won one more game, right? They each lost the bowl game. Year two, Elko 11-2, 7-1 in SEC play. In a season that, in my opinion, and I do like Elko as a coach. I really do. I think he has good sound bites. I think he has some of that dog mentality in him. I think his trajectory is 100% up. But I will say this. I do feel that last year for Texas A&M, it was more a mirage than anything. I don't think that football team, like that 11-2 record right there, this team played a really light schedule, and their schedule kind of worked out for them, and it kind of set them up to, people thought they were better, right, than they were. I knew from the minute I looked at their schedule, I was like, this team is 100% beatable by a lot of teams. They just didn't play any of those teams, and they should have lost to South Carolina. I didn't watch that game. I know why they lost it. I mean, they just didn't make second half second half. They got up. It's South Carolina was up, and they just weren't able to shut the door. And A&M played amazing in the second half, whatever, but still. So I think it's interesting because here in Tuscaloosa, here around the University of Alabama, DeBoer's still on the same contract, which is fine. It's a good contract, right? He's still riding the 8-year contract. It was 10, now we're at 8, right? $10.2 million, and he has incentives within that. But I think right now you kind of look at the coaches that are making more than DeBoer. Elko's one of them. Clearly Cignetti, they pulled the trigger even before Cignetti won the national title. They just knew that he had it in him. But you look to kind of that year 2, and I think what DeBoer did, that's kind of the big separator, is year 2 between these two. And for me, it was that DeBoer played a much more challenging schedule, A. B, he took his team to the SEC title game. C, they did that by winning, right, against a very tough schedule where that included beating 4 top 25 teams consecutively, right? And then D, he won a playoff game. A&M didn't win a playoff game, right? And then E, DeBoer has a better record over those first 2 years, 20-8, 19-7, right? And same record in the SEC. But only one out of these two has reached the SEC title game. So I think it's interesting because, look, I mean, we have 100 people on, right? This isn't like a national show. I get that. But the national perspective out there is that Elko is a much better coach than DeBoer. That Elko has his program on the right track. That Elko is going to bring Texas A&M to greatness. That Elko is this, he's that, when in fact, he's behind DeBoer, right? Not by much, but he is, right? And the only coach, think about this, and the only coach that has won more games within their first 2 seasons is Cignetti. And that's in the Power 4. There's a couple other coaches. I think if you went outside the Power 4, there's a couple more coaches that have won more than 20 games. But in the big Power 4, ACC, Big Ten, right, SEC, ACC, DeBoer is second in most wins going into year 3, right? I think that's really impressive, and I also fall back on like the fact that he's 2-1 against Kirby Smart. But again, it comes down to the nature of losses, and that's where the separation between these two is something that Elko doesn't have. Elko's team hasn't necessarily suffered as dramatic losses as Alabama has over those 2 years, and people don't forget that type of stuff. People don't forget the way that Alabama played on January 1st against the buzzsaw of a team, and that's just kind of how it is, right? So I just, again, is DeBoer, does he need an extension or whatever? I think for us, it probably falls in the hands of year 3. You watch how year 3 is. We talk about this being a critical year for many different levels. Now that you have all systems in place, that front end of the season gives your time for your offense to match your defense. Defense should not drop off in any shape or form, right? And then you kind of see where the chips fall. But the second half of the schedule is really tough. I mean, that 4-game stretch that you have is daunting. And I think when you look to, Alabama's football schedule, see if I have it on here, and you look to the second half of the schedule, it's tough. And I think this is, do you agree with me? Yes or no? That this second half of the schedule in that 4-game stretch is 1,000,000% what separates the SEC from the Big Ten. Okay? We can look at all the Big Ten football schedules if you guys want. Okay? We can look at all of them. But the truth of the matter is, no team in the Big Ten, no team in the Big 12, no team in the ACC is playing a back-to-back-to-back. Shoot, we'll even throw Vanderbilt in there, right? I don't know. I mean, how good that kind of a wild card team this year without Diego. But still, you see what I'm saying? All these teams this is going to be one hell of a gauntlet schedule that DeBoer is going to have to roll through within year 3. I mean, are you kidding me? Georgia's coming to town. Come on. At Tennessee, Texas A&M, right? Thank God you got an open week right before LSU, and then you have to turn around for Baton Rouge and get things packed in order to go to, Nash Vegas. So by that time, their quarterback should have grown up, by, mid-November, whatever. So this is a very, very challenging schedule for Alabama, but so was last year's. And what did they do when we looked at that 4-game gauntlet of schedule? We were like, man, that's going to be tough. Maybe they'll go 3-1, maybe 2-2 seems reasonable. They went 4-0. So if they're able to win those first 5 games and they go into this second half relatively healthy, that's why I have them at 10-2. Right? So big year for Coach Kalen DeBoer, clearly for obvious reasons. Before I leave this screen, how are we feeling about Vanderbilt? Rex points out they did get the number 1 the quarterback in the country. Trending up still, or kind of I mean, I would just assess, and I haven't looked at the retention that they have coming back. I think they lose a good amount. Is Vanderbilt a team that you see maybe trending down this year? Do you think they're staying the same? Are they another 10-win type team? I find that hard to believe, but shoot, I mean, they've been killing it in the NIL game. They got tons of money. Clark Lee just got signed to another contract. What are you thinking about Vanderbilt? I don't know. I really don't know. I think the other teams I could probably tell you about, and I still, feel good about them. Yeah, so, I mean, a couple users inside the comment box still feel good about Vanderbilt, right? Wow, shoot. Man. Yeah, I mean, then this schedule's even that much harder, right? I mean, shoot. Georgia, Tennessee, A&M, LSU, Vanderbilt. Come on, right? You got Chattanooga, and then you go right into your back-end rivalry game. The back-end schedule is hard. Really hard. And thank goodness for this front-end schedule. And I'm not saying that the front-end schedule is easy, but I think when you look to the front end of Alabama's football schedule, and I didn't really anticipate talking about the schedule, but man, Eastern Carolina, get your feet together. Kentucky, get your feet together, right? Challenging road game in the SEC. I mean, all SEC games are good and tough, right? Florida State, right? Payback game, different quarterback, different offensive coordinator. They're going to be good. South Carolina, that's your toughest, front-end game right here. And then a trip to Stark Vegas before you turn around and host the Bulldogs. So I have them at 10-2. I don't know, which games they lose or whatever, but it's a hard schedule. And I think if every single time we bring up these other schedules from these other teams, you're like, man, it's not the same. Especially, once you go out of the SEC, the teams don't play tough schedules. They don't. I mean, we pulled up Indiana's before. We pulled up Ohio State's. We pulled up Michigan's. You can pull up whoever you think from the ACC, and just they're not impressive to me, right? It's just not. All right, so you see this? All right, speaking of the corn dogs, all right, we played around with this last month, but this is a real example of how these jersey patches are going to work. How do you feel about this? We put, what did we put? We put a Conecuh sausage one. We put a Mercedes-Benz one. But these patches, what is this? Woodside Energy. This is exactly how it's going to look. And you're also going to have, I would imagine, ads on the field, right? At the 25, you're going to have hey, we've crossed the 25-yard line. You know what time it is? It's the Golden Flake chip time. Hey, don't forget, blah, blah, you know what I'm saying? They crossed the 50, the Conecuh 50. So who do you think, legitimately will be the first jersey patch for Alabama football? Who will be the first? You could have 2 of them. I think you could have one, and then you could have another one added, an SEC play or something like that. Who do you think will be the first jersey patch for Alabama football? Legitimately. I am saying Mercedes. It makes sense, right? Right here in Vance. I mean, the plan is gigantic. Has anyone taken a tour of the plant? By the way, 62% are fans. You know what? I'm redoing a jersey patch. Yes, players will get paid for the jersey patches. Yeah, so I would imagine, let's say they get like Alexander Shinar, right? Jersey patch. He pays, I don't know, whatever it is, and then all the players are paid from that, right? I don't know. This is a good question. Can a player be individualized through a patch, right? Like we scrounge up whatever. Could we put a patch on like the backup long snapper, right? I'm dead serious. Or is it just like one sponsor for the whole team, right? I think Mercedes clearly makes sense. You know who else? But I recently read an article that it was Milo's Tea is just making money. Like they're just out there. They're exporting like so much sweet tea. They're just balling out of control. Maybe Milo's. You imagine? Wow, Jimmy Dean sausage is amazing. Wow. Man, Jimmy Dean's is good too. But, I mean, we all know Kaneka is like the GOAT. But Jimmy Dean's, can you imagine? You know Jimmy Dean's got that cash. So I guess I'm saying Mercedes, Kaneka. I didn't know Jimmy Dean's, but I like the ring of that. Alexander Shinara totally makes sense. What else? Oh, Milo's. Yeah, see, Rocket Town's right. That Milo's, I'm telling you. Cody says Ferrari and Mercedes. Maybe Ferrari, can you imagine? The end zone powered by Ferrari? Yikes. Man. Milo's Tea sponsoring kickoffs, right? Hey, fans, this kickoff is brought to you in part by Milo's Tea. And remember, every time Alabama gets a first down, everyone say, Jimmy Dean. Imagine? For every field goal made over 50 yards, you can take this ticket coupon to your local Publix for $3 off of, Jimmy Dean sausage. I don't know. Amelia says, Regions Bank. Yeah. I mean, even my debit card is an Alabama football card through Regions Bank. Yeah, right. Want a bank like the champions? Well, head on over to Regions Bank, and every single time Alabama scores over 45 points, you get a free checking account for your son or daughter. I don't know. I could see all of it happening. Ladies and gentlemen, Woodbridge. I think they'd be better with Wiener Schnitzel, right? I don't know. All right, Alabama taking on Arkansas on Wednesday night. Basketball, all right? We'll be back for a watch-along on Wednesday. Ooh, Taco Casa, right? Speaking of Tuesday, it is Taco Casa right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Show this video to your local Taco Casa and get a free burrito when you say Roll Tide. Alabama basketball taking on Arkansas. Big game. Arkansas is number 20 in the country. 6 p.m. tip-off on ESPN. Alabama right now has won 4 in a row. They've won their last 5 out of 6 games. They're starting to really cook. Nate Oates feels that they have, starting to kind of find their way going in this back season of the back-end stretch. And when I look at these next few games, I think Alabama, they're about to go on a tear, in my opinion, okay? You got Arkansas. I think if that game's at home. They play LSU. That'll be a tough one, right? But I think that's definitely manageable. Mississippi State, okay. You take care of the Bulldogs. That's another tough one. Tennessee, that game's hard, okay. You win that, and then you have Auburn on the back end at home in Georgia. So I don't know. I think Alabama's going to start to put it together right here. And I think that this team, since, Bediako, that kind of stuff got flushed, now it's about that guard play, and it's about Sherelle staying healthy, and it's about them just playing their game, which is up-tempo, making shots. And I think if this team stays hot from the three-point line, if they can hit their free throws, that's just going to be it. And they're going to live and die off that, all right? What's up? Blissful Love, what's up? Good to see you, all right? Yeah, Crystal Jones says Golden Flake. Yeah, Golden Flake is a huge sponsor. Yeah. Remember, every single time Alabama scores from 20 yards out, Get a free Golden Flake bag of chips. I've had Golden Flakes a couple times. You know, I like the barbecue, right? The barbecue is good. Arkansas is going to be tough for sure. Yeah. So that game is on Wednesday night. So come back and hang out for the watch long, okay? As you know, fam, video powered by our friends at Sleeper, right? When you use that promo code, which is tailgate, get $20 upon just downloading the app, all right? Terms and conditions apply, available in 25 states. And past performance is not indicative of future results, so please keep that in mind when you are using Sleeper, which I really appreciate. And one of the great things that they've added is team picks. So, like, for example, you can just look at the board right here and see Arkansas and Alabama. So go over, navigate on team picks, and you can see that, I mean, just looking at the board right here, it has Alabama with a 66% chance to win. So, you know, you can, kind of add that to your daily fantasy, more or less. I like stuff like that. It makes sense to me. It's easy to use. Sleeper's a great app. And if you need to set up your next fantasy football league, you got to go to Sleeper. I mean, that's where I live on fantasy football. I'm in 2 leagues. I use Sleeper all the time. They have the best analytics, 100%. Very, very easy interface. So check them out. They support me. You guys should support them. And remember, the promo code is tailgate. All right. Also, fam, before I take your calls here in a few minutes, jump into the raffle. This is our newest raffle for Friday. Super Chats will also get you in, but $10 to enter up to 3 opportunities. Venmo, Bama _YouTube, Cash App, YouTube for the OG hoodie of the undefeated. So definitely get in where you fit in. For all you Northern California folks, that is a Too Short reference. I appreciate you guys being here. All right. We will get to the call line coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Don't go anywhere. I'll take your calls coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Remember, fans, every single time we take a call. Just kidding. I'll be right back. The music sounds like this is our pinwheel music, but the music to me sounds like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what it sounds like to me. And remember, the only thing I ask is if you called in yesterday, you sit out today. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you so much. So with that said, the call line is open. 205-850-1994 is the call line number. I appreciate you guys calling into the show right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching every single day, all day, every day, Monday through Friday, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thanks for watching. See ya. Just kidding. All right. All right. I like to do it with the music, like, perfectly, right? See if I can do it, like, perfectly to the music. All right. So call line is open if you want to call. Would you guys like if I was more monotone, right? The call line is open. 205-850-1994. Want to talk Alabama football? Kyle Henderson. Now is a perfect time to call into the program. While we wait for the calls to come in, we will put up the Ask Kyle banner, and you can ask your questions now. Broderick says, nah, I like hype Kyle. You know what Kyle's the best? The best Kyle is Nightcap Kyle. Nightcap Kyle is fire. Yo, is way better. All right, I'm way better at night. It just is. I don't know why. I just it's a better vibe. People who come back for like the nightcap shows, I don't know. It's like it's 2 different personalities. It really is. You're like, what? You know, like Kyle's Kyle. No. Nightcap Kyle, like, you can mess with Nightcap. Nightcap Kyle is fire. I promise you. The problem is Nightcap Kyle is tired right? Because I need to go to, because I love quality sleep, right? So the more sleep I get, that's good because my workouts. But Nightcap Kyle, you got me hanging out, yo. It's a time for sure. But yeah. So anytime you see, if you're out there and you're ever like, damn, yo, Nightcap Kyle, roll through. It's fun. And if you haven't been to a watch along, roll through. It's fun. I promise you. You'll have a good time. Okay. All right. So no calls today, which is cool. I understand. You know, it's February 17th. You want to call in, that's fine. If you don't, I get it as well. But I appreciate you guys rolling through with the show today, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys for watching Tuesday's show. Thank you so much for the super chats and for being in my corner, being a fan funder, and all that sort of stuff right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. I will see you as news happens. And thank you very much for watching today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. See ya. Thanks for watching.